Welcome. Dr. Chooks explains academic research writings, entrepreneurship and innovations, cooperative business enterprises, creativity and marketing, and topical academic subjects. Listen as Dr. Chooks explains today's concepts.
Hello. Welcome to today's session. I remain your facilitator, Dr. Chooks. Still on our project management series, today we'll be talking about cost estimation. Last time we talked about project management definition. We defined the project cycle. We talked about the project management process in general. Today we'll be talking about cost estimation. What do we mean by cost estimates? In project management, accurate cost estimation is crucial for the effective decision-making and control. It's essential to determine and precisely estimate the cost implication of a project while in advance of its commencement. Of course, you know, if you do not make your cost estimation correctly, along the way, you'll be making mistakes in purchases, you'll be making inaccurate estimation of labor costs, several costs that may come up in the cost of your project. So this facilitates the effective project management by serving as a reference point, for cost planning. So cost estimation can serve as a reference point for cost planning, for resource allocation, for cost control, and most importantly, budgetary oversight. So you can see that cost estimate is important. Now, what is cost definitions and the principle behind all this? In accounting, the profession of accounting, the term cost carries multiple interpretations. All right, it carries multiple interpretation and must be clearly defined in the context in which it is being referred to. So this teaching session we are embarked on now focuses on examining various types of costs and their relevance to the study of project management. It is important as well as imperative to specify the type of cost being referred whenever the term cost is mentioned to ensure clarity and precision. Now, the different types of costs that we have are direct costs, factory costs, fixed costs, indirect costs, standard labor costs, and overhead recovery. Let's explain them a bit so you know what they really and individually mean. Direct costs. Direct costs refers to expenses that can be directly attributed to a specific job or a project. For instance, if an engineer spends 5 hours designing an engineering column, the time spent qualifies as direct cost or direct labor, and the estimated cost is recorded as direct cost, assigned specifically to the design of the column. So you see how you can distinguish them. So we say direct cost refers to the expenses that can be directly attributed to a specific job or a project. And we use the analogy of an engineer that is spending 5 hours designing an engineering column, all right, in a column for a building, all right. Now, the time he spends, we qualify that as his direct labor, which he imputes into such a project, and the associated costs that is recorded is attributed to is called direct costs associated with that specific function of designing the column. So that's a difference. Now, factory costs. What does this one mean? The concept of factory cost is mainly applicable to manufacturing consigns. All right. Factory cost is the total cost of a job or project before the addition of a markup for the purpose of profit. Factory costs will include the following: 1, direct material costs, direct labor costs, indirect labor costs, design costs. All these make up the factory cost. Another cost that we'll be examining is fixed costs. Fixed costs are expenses that remain relatively constant and must be incurred regardless of fluctuations in workload from 0 to maximum or installed capacity. So common examples of fixed costs include management salaries. They won't change whether you're producing or your workload is fluctuating or not. Management salaries will not shift. Administrative expenses will not change whether the fluctuation in workload is increasing or not. Heating and electricity expenses remain the same. Insurance remains the same. Building expenses, business permit you pay for the place in which you do your business, they remain the same. So these are examples of fixed costs. Now, the next cost we'll be talking about now is indirect cost. In a typical manufacturing facility, for example, expenses such as office accommodation, the management expenses, welfare service expenses, accounting expenses, heating and lighting, these are necessary expenses for operational efficiency. So additional costs, which includes things like salaries, wages, are also incurred in a manufacturing facility. So generally, all these costs are termed indirect cost or overhead cost. Why? They don't directly link to, like we mentioned in our explanation of direct cost. They don't directly link or they're not directly attributed to a specific job or a project. So that's the ones we refer to as indirect costs. Okay, now types of costs. Let us see an illustration of types of costs from this table, table 1. Now look at this table carefully. You will see cost structure for a simple manufacturing project. Just look at it from this table. You see the items on the left side and you see the amounts attributed to them on the right side. Let's see the first item on the left side, which is iron flat sheets. That is 1 million. And then we have brass iron rods. That is 2 million. Then we have aluminum profiles, 3 million. And we have the total of direct materials, 6 million. Now, you will notice the attributes or the characteristics of these first 3 items. They are directly linked to the project. That's why they are called direct materials linked for it. So you can see 6 million. Then we have direct labor. Now, the first there is the cost for design. That's the engineering labor for designing. That is 200,000. You can see there. Then we have manufacture, the factory hands. We have 700,000, and then and that brings up the direct labor, total direct labor to 900. Then we have the next, which is the overhead cost. We have overhead cost 1,350,000 naira, and then we have we have total factory cost 8,250,000. Then the project is marked up at 30%, which is 2,475,000, and then the market selling price is 10,725,000 naira. You can just see this table and articulate all these costs all together from this table. Now, another concept we will talk about is the standard labor cost. Labor is a critical component of project cost. It encompasses the efforts of junior and senior personnel, including the accountants and other project participants. Estimating labor costs based on individual pay rates can be challenging at times, as personnel with similar roles, such as 2 engineers, may earn different salaries, as the case may be because of some consideration. So this can be a difficult situation to really phantom. Therefore, in project management, it is recommended to adopt standard costing for estimating labor expenses. For convenience, labor costs can be classified according to the predefined categories based on job roles. For example, engineers in a project may be averaged out to cost maybe 1 million per annum, all right? And therefore, we can estimate that the standard cost for engineers for a project is 1 million per annum. Just make that assumption. This is the cost that will be imputed in the cost estimate for engineers, because that's just what we have estimated. Also, for accountants involved in a project, there may also be the need to work out the standard cost for an accountant. For example, we might just estimate the standard cost for an accountant to be maybe 1.5 million per annum. So for all types of labors, we should have estimates for the standard cost, irrespective of how the market plays out, so that we can use that for our record. it enables the project to be properly cost. All right. Remember the cost, what we're talking about today is cost estimates or cost estimation. Now, table 2 here in our presentation, you can see it is an example of labor grades for standard costing in a project engineering company. Now look at the grades. You have grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then under the next column, you can see these grades include company director, and we see the salary per annum at 5 million. And then we have the divisional heads. The estimated salary per annum is 4 million. And the rank of that divisional heads could be like general managers, as you can see on our slides. Now you see number 3, grade level 3 there, you can see assistant divisional heads, the rank of assistant general manager and above, 3 million. And then we have management cadre. All those within the management cadre, they are of the rank of senior managers and above, including senior engineers, senior architects, senior accountants, all of them put together. You can see the estimated salary per annum to be 2.5 million. Then we have grade level 5, which is the engineers. We classify them as managers because we're managing projects at their own individual levels. Look at their salaries per annum, 1.5. Then we have technologists. Engineers are 2 million, technologists are 1.5 million, draftsmen, which are assistant managers, are 1.5 million, and then we have administrative officers like staff clerks, secretaries, and so on. Estimation of their salary per annum is 1 million. Okay, team-based structure is another concept we'll talk about as we begin to round up. Team-based structures can be described as employee teams. It is a design where work is structured for groups. These groups are then given authority and discretion over matters such as process improvement, service development, quality management, or even new product development. Employee teams. Does that strike you in any way? It means these are groupings. These are groupings. So team approach to management was developed mainly by Japanese companies, maybe like Toyota, Honda, Mitsubishi, Sony, and a whole lot of them. What we see today are giant Japanese firms, American firms, European firms, even Nigerian firms, which control large segments of the global trade market or regional trade market or state trade market or national trade markets in their own right. Now, let's talk about the concept that relates to team-based structures. Now, these are 5 concepts that are related to team-based structures. The first is the pure project teams. The second is the group dynamics and team building. The third is teamwork. The fourth is communication within project teams. And the fifth is building goal interpersonal relations within the team. Okay, let's take them one by one so that we can easily understand what they are up to. A pure project team. A pure project team is a specially constituted work group formed within the organization and given a special assignment or task. The assignment could be any of the following. 1, maybe to install a new computer system within an organization, to design a new product, or design a new service format. This could be any of it. Now, usually members of a pure project team are nominated to join the team based on certain criteria. A team leader or manager usually places or is usually placed at the head of teams. All right, at the head of teams. Okay, a team leader or a manager is usually placed at the head of the team. In most cases, after the assignment has been completed, the team is disbanded. Okay, let's talk about the task force teams. A task force is created by top management to tackle or solve a major problem. In Nigerian setting, we have witnessed the existence of different or the advent of one task force or the other. There was the task force on port decongestion at a time. And in our locality, in our states, we had task force that tried to enforce sanitation. We had task force that tried to enforce maybe illegal parking along the metropolis. These are task force. Members of a task force are usually drawn from various organizations with a team leader as the head. Usually, at the end of the assignment or when the task force loses its focus, it is definitely disbanded. Now, quality improvement teams. Now, today, quality has become an issue that has taken the front line in business discussions. Most organizations are drawing heavily from the Japanese firms that have long imbibed quality as their watchword. In Nigeria today, total quality management has become an important issue, and many firms are setting up internal quality teams, especially empowered to draw or address ways to improve quality within the organization. So quality improvement teams are just those that are in charge of ensuring that their standard quality of, or we can just say total quality of management of an organization. Then we have the group dynamics and team building. Recall that organizations grow out of the need for people to cooperate for the achievement of set goals. The coming together is based on the fact that different people have different skills. That precisely explains briefly the origin of teams or groups. Although groups have been variously defined in various literatures, our working definition is that a group is a collection of two or more people who perceive themselves as a group. They share a common interest, they share a common goal, they share a common norm, and have a sense of belonging. They may have a leader, all right? So invariably, the following can be seen as groups: a computer steering committee tasked to carry out a function, a product launch committee tasked to prepare the launch of a particular product. This can be seen as groups. Now, the purpose of a group or a team. Practically, organizations use groups or teams for the following purpose. One, to distribute work along clearly defined lines. For example, in a bank, for instance, you could find the energy group, the treasury group, the marketing group, and so on and so forth. Number two, to monitor and control work. After a group has been formed, the group needs to be managed, and that is why every group or team should have a leader. Number three, problem solving. So you see the purpose of a group could be to distribute work along clearly defined line, to monitor and control work, and number three, for problem solving. And at the level of problem solving, at times, groups are used to solve organizational problems as they arise. Problems facing an organization are many. Of course, we understand this. They may be major or minor problems. In most cases, when major problems arises, management can set up a team or a group to look into the problem. Now, teamwork. Building project teams is not the end of the task ahead. The most important task is how to build team spirit within that project teams. Like we said earlier, members of the team may come from various units or departments to join a particular team set up at the head office to carry out a particular function or to launch a particular product. This critical task, and which is the duty of the team leader, is to ensure that the group members see themselves as members of a team and also work like a team. Now, if members of a team are to perform as team players and work towards team objective, then certain things should be placed in the team or should be present in the team. Let's examine some of these things that should be present. One unit goal. It is important that every member of a team perfectly understand the goals and the objective of the team. Every action of every member must be directed towards a set objective of the team. For those of us that watch football, we understand the goal of every football team is to win the match, in which every member of a football team, the goal of that team is to win, and every member of that team, that's the football players, know that goal and they work according to that one unit goal. Number two, group cohesiveness and support. A group is made up of a number of people with different quality and characteristics. A good group is one in which there is that cohesiveness. This cohesiveness binds the group together and makes them act in one direction and towards the same objective. So it's a very important thing that every group have group cohesiveness and support. Number 3, team spirit. What do we mean by that? Individual spirit is not the same as team spirit. Team spirit is based on group affinity and affection amongst members. Team spirit makes an individual member imbibe the spirit of a group and behave like a group rather than behaving individually. Number 4, high expectations. There must be high expectations among the various members of a team. For example, when you form a 15-man football team to represent Nigeria, each team member usually will have high expectation arising from the team dynamics and the spirit. And that high expectation is key to achieving the organizational goal or the team goal. Number 5, willingness. Team members must be willing to be members of the team. Yes, they must voluntarily submit themselves to be members of that team. They should not be unwilling members, because if they are, they'll be frustrated and this will affect the team as a whole. Now, let's discuss communication within the project, the project team. Communication is a process of exchanging information between one person or another, or between one person and a group of persons. So communication also conveys knowledge of or information about the subject matter. Communication is all about sharing information. Generally, in a team situation, there is the need for effective communication among the members. The importance of communication is that it is the lifeblood of any organization and, by implication, the team. Communication is the process. Communication as a process assists management functions to be accomplished. The real purpose of communication is to effect change in an organization. Of course, why are you communicating if there is no purpose for it? So the real purpose of communication is to effect change in an organization and influence action towards organizational objectives. So communication organizes the human resources in an organization or within a team. What are the lines of communication in a project team? We have 3 lines of communication. We have the vertical communication, we have the horizontal communication, and we have the external communication. Let's explain each of them so that we can get a hang on what they really mean. Vertical communication within the project team could be from the team leader to subordinates, that is up, down, or from the subordinates to the team leader, down, up. So vertical communication assists in passing information on policies and provides feedback mechanism through which staff respond to communication. We have horizontal communication. In a team, in a project team, communication can flow horizontally across staff at the same level in the project team. It could be communication to all the managers in the team. Remember, all the managers are on the same level. Or all the secretaries, they are on the same level. All the workmen are the foremen are all on the same level. So all these communication at the same level are referred to as horizontal communication. Then we have external communication. Within a project team, external communication is a situation where the team or group exchanges information with a larger organization. For example, when a team leader reports progress to the managing director, we regard such information as a form of external communication as it is outside the team. Now, how can we build good interpersonal relations within the team? An organization may possess enormous capital, good organizational structure, high training manpower, but if the staff do not relate properly to one another, then problems may likely occur frequently and retard corporate performance. And so it is very, very important that a team has good interpersonal relations. So it is this situation, so it is with a team. As we discussed earlier, a team can be made up of people from different units and different backgrounds. Therefore, it is very important that at all times, managers should be aware of the need to build and maintain good interpersonal relationship with their subordinates, bosses, peers within the same organization. Now, let's put it simply. Interpersonal relations are the way and manner people get along with one another. Now, let's talk about the effects of poor interpersonal relations. When there is poor interpersonal relations within an organization or within a team, a project team, tension, number one, tension between staff and other fellow staff will be observed. Number two, there will be tension between staff and management. Number three, you will observe that there will be tension among management staff. Number four, you will observe that there will be unhealthy internal rivalry between all staff. Number five, industrial misery and hostility will occur. Number six, you will observe things like strikes. Strikes may occur. Number seven, corruption becomes rampant. Number eight, general dishonesty. Number nine, crime in the workplace will be observed. And then number 10, disloyalty to the organization will become rife. Now, what are the principles of interpersonal relations? The first is act like a member of a team. That's the first. Act like a member of a team. And how do you do that? Do not let personal interests affect that of the organization. The next, number two, remember that other staff come from different backgrounds and will at times behave differently from your expectation. That's the second principle. The third principle is learn to be accommodative. Number four, keep your boss informed of your movement at all times. Number five, avoid gossip in the workplace. Number six, display a positive attitude to work. And number seven, be friendly and cooperative. Number eight, treat every subordinate with respect. And number nine, stick to the chain of command. These are the principles of interpersonal relations. Now, another one, the same interpersonal relationship, learn to wear a smile on your face always. Show interest in other people's problems. Always learn to say thank you. When someone has served you, someone has offered you a service, say thank you. Next, avoid aggressive behavior because actions trigger reactions. Then we also have always learn to apologize when you're wrong. Greet people in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Be polite. Be respectful. Be honest. Be responsive. Show good hygiene. These are principles of interpersonal relations. All right, thank you for listening today. In our next class, I will be talking about monitoring and evaluation.
Hey, have you seen my other videos? Do well to check it out. Thank you.